Well, so I'm really curious. I want to hear more. Like, I know, for example, the 4Ds, which block compassion, are diagnosis, denial of responsibility, demand, and deserve. So, let's, what is Marshall talking about with this?
Well, the first one is diagnosis. And we're talking about the 4Ds. Now, in Marshall's book, he doesn't say the 4Ds of disconnection. Throughout many experiences in workshops, this idea of the 4Ds of disconnection has come up, and it does apply to Chapter 2. It's important, I think, when I'm learning something, to have little catchphrases that really draw me in. And the 4Ds of disconnection is one of those catchphrases. So the first one is described in Marshall's book as moralistic judgment. So we're talking about the first D, diagnosis here. We're talking about putting labels on things, comparing people or experiences. We're talking about judgments and compartmentalizing people and experiences. If you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off and you say, "You idiot," that is considered a moralistic judgment or a diagnosis of that person. If you are engaged in conversation with someone and you're not really that comfortable, you might say, "Oh, you're so wonderful." Geez, sounds like a compliment to me. But in actuality, you'll notice that you actually disconnect a little bit when you put a label on someone, how wonderful they are. These are oblique ideas. When I say the word oblique, I mean it's not that easy to wrap your brain around these ideas. But if I call someone an idiot, if I say that they're lazy, even if I say that they're smart, I'm putting people in a box. I've decided that they're good or they're bad. I've made a judgment about them. They're normal. They're not normal. They're pretty. They're ugly. So whether it sounds like a compliment or a criticism, I have risen to the level where I know best, and I've decided something about this person. Now, sure, we need to make decisions in life. That's true. I'm just offering that there's a consciousness here. There's another choice. If, in fact, you're simply going towards a person trying to figure out what they're all about, go ahead and make your judgments. Your labels may serve you. But if, in fact, you're moving towards a person interested in connection, maybe in some compassion between you, you may want to think twice about making a judgment about a person or putting a label on a person. And that's what I'm talking about. In Chapter 2, Marshall's talking about moralistic judgments. If someone behaves in a way that does not live up to what's important to me, I put a label on them and walk away. When I walk away, I lose connection with that person. So, there's a line to the heart.
Oh, it's so very clear, isn't it?
It is. We respond. We can see the reactions. We can feel the reactions in ourselves. If someone tells me that I'm pretty, initially I think, "Oh, that's wonderful." And then there's a dissatisfaction that comes up in me. Sure, it's great to be pretty, but I've kind of been placed in a box. And that box is limiting. So if someone instead were to say to me, "My goodness, when you smile that way, or when you put your makeup on this way, or when you wear your hair this way, I just feel a lightness in myself because pretty and harmony, beauty, these things are important to me. So I appreciate what you're presenting." Then it's a full picture. It's 3D. You know? So this whole thing about labeling and putting somebody in a compartment, judging, we tend to have a black and white picture then. It isn't quite as full.
Diagnosis, and how would I know, for example, if I'm doing that?
Well, if you watch the people you're talking to, they may start out fully engaged. You may have full eye contact. People might be standing facing you. But if you are diagnosing someone or labeling someone, you'll notice sometimes that their eyes will retreat. They will look away. You'll lose their attention. And sometimes you'll also notice that their body will turn away. Disconnection can be observed. So if you're losing someone, you can see it in their eyes. They're backing up. They may even still be looking at you, but they're just not present. They're not listening anymore. You've lost them. That's a good sign that you're involved in diagnosis.
Thank you. Absolutely. Very sad. But a sweet sad. At least you know what's going on.
You're paying attention. You're
Yeah.
aware.
So it is a moralistic judgment, correct?
Well, the moralistic judgment implies that something that is being said or done, whether they're saying it or I'm saying it, does not line up with what's important to me. That's what I'm making a moralistic judgment. I have my ideas about what's right and wrong, and I'm testing everything according with that. There is another kind of judgment. It's called value judgment. And that is important. I mean, many times when I talk to people about judging, they will defend themselves and say, well, I have to judge. How can I walk through the world without making judgments? Yes, indeed. You need to make value judgments in life about what's important to you, about what's safe for you. You need to make judgments about what you're going to eat, who you're going to involve yourself with, what clubs you're going to join, what your appointments will be. You need to make value judgments about what's important in your life in any given moment. Yes. But when something occurs in your life that does not coincide with what's valuable to you, very often you will make a moralistic judgment and move into, this is wrong, this is bad, this person is stupid. And that's when we disconnect from those around us if we're not careful.
So there we go into the criticism.
The disconnection is really your test. And if you're not interested in connection, fine. If that's not what's important to you, if you're just interested in power over, if you're just interested in getting a job done, be honest with yourself that that's all you want. So I want to be clear here. I'm not telling people, this is not a religion class.
Right.
This is not a church sermon. I'm simply talking about choices that you have, more choices that you have. If you're finding that you want connection, be careful about the 4 Ds.